Ready? Trying to think of something. It's like bing, bang, bow, or whatever I said before. Bada boom, bada bing, baby. Bada bing, bada boom. We back at the EF5 podcast.
It's killing me. It's killing me.
Welcome back to the EF5 podcast, Stokemaniacs.
Oh, yeah.
But
let me tell you something.
We are here. I should be saying that to you. You're the one that looks more like me and Gene than I do.
I thought I was Stone Cold. Where's the glass breaking?
But we're back. We're here to talk about some great things. Once again, I'm going to let you take it over because I always do the talking at the beginning. So let's switch it up a little bit. You take over.
Do I have to start with the intro? Welcome to the EF5.
Yeah, sure, do it. Oh. Restart it again.
Bada boom, bada bing, bang.
Man,
welcome to the EF5.
That inspired confidence in me.
At least you're not yawning. Oh, you're not going to be yawning about this, though.
What am I not yawning about? Tell me.
About the chaos that's about to come.
No. No, we've already seen some chaos.
It's the winter time, man. What do you expect?
We've already seen, well, not tornadoes in January.
That is true.
That's for sure.
No, we go back and what's it? 44, episode 44. I think I wrote it down. 44. I think it was episode 5. I don't know. Go back and look at it. We got 3 episodes where we predicted out the quarters.
And I'm pretty sure it says predictions in the title, too.
Yes.
So
after kind of looking back at them, we had been talking around going, man, we need to do another one because we were spot on a lot of the things. We spoke about the supply chain issues, about the equipment stresses, demands in the ports,
right.
The seaport.
The seaport and the airport.
That was breaking news to you.
Is there a rail port?
I don't know.
Train
That's
port?
a good question. I'm not sure if they're called a rail port or not.
That would be pretty good.
But we talked about the different things such as that. We talked about the supply and demand, lack of making supply, how that was going to create demand. We talked about fuel falling into that, the increase of fuel. We were spot on the fuel increases. We were spot on the congestion of the ports coming. Just everything. If you go back and look at those episodes,
we're not even
100%.
And we're not even tooting our own horn here.
Toot.
It's just the facts. Factual basis right there.
Didn't Ric Flair say if you don't toot your own horn, nobody else is going to toot it?
It sounds like a Ric Flair quote, so I'd believe it. I'd believe it.
That's true, though. I mean, you said it 100% there. Like, we're not trying to, like, toot that in a way that is bragging about us. More or less trying to add credibility so you understand what we're trying to say means something. There's some value, and hopefully you can get something from that to prepare, plan, and be ready for certain things that feel like they're coming.
Yep.
And we've been pretty good on the one thing we spoke about is history does not repeat itself. It rhymes. You think that's an accurate statement or not?
I would say it's generally accurate. I mean,
How can it be generally accurate?
It's generally accurate.
Now you're creating this generation gap that this old boomer over here is saying this GX person over there is not understanding, and you're that lost generation. You don't get it. You're creating all that when you create all this. Generally, it's kind of similar. It's either yes or no.
I say words like that all the time. I like an out. Yes.
I'm about to break my plane and break your heart.
Yes.
No, but seriously.
Yes.
So history cannot identically repeat itself.
Correct. You're not going to have the same amount of deaths and the same amount of wars and the same amount of time.
Not identical.
Correct.
There's no physical way possible. You want to know why?
Why?
Because time and the environment has moved and has changed. It will not ever be identical.
Okay.
So we walk out of this room, come back, we might look similar. We might rhyme with what we just looked like.
But it wasn't the same as
it will never be exactly the same. Technology cannot reproduce that. They can rhyme with it, but they cannot reproduce it specifically exactly.
Interesting.
So under that lens, as we take that little look and then don't want to say yes or no, and we kind of widen it out, then we can see things a lot differently.
Right. So if it doesn't repeat itself and it rhymes, what's the next melody?
It looks and feels as if everything that we have been able to put together, and you take past history to understand what could be the pattern in the future based upon how it would rhyme similar to what it looked like previously to predict forward. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So that being the case, we're in quarter one, just started for the most part, quarter one, 2023.
Yep.
So you have a lot of elements that are bleeding into this prediction look forward. And so for that first quarter and into the second quarter of 2023, we kind of talk about it about 2 quarters out and then kind of give a farther look as what we've shared in the past.
Right.
So looking forward, typically as well this time of year, that's another pattern of rhyming, but it doesn't exactly look alike.
Right.
You have elements such as the Chinese New Year coming up at the end of the month of January for 2 weeks. You have elements to consider that China has not officially opened from their COVID point of view. So you have looks of things that will contribute. Then you also have, we've talked about this today, any black swan events, unknown things that could come out that
Right.
you have to consider and understand that are not part of your prediction.
Right.
That could happen to influence it. So you kind of look at those elements of the known things, the possibility of unknown things that could pop out that are equal to what's going on in the world, such as maybe the Ukraine war, different things of that nature, some of the geopolitical conflicts that exist already, Taiwan, China, different things like that, North Korea, South Korea. So you have all those elements to consider.
Right.
But for the surface level, what you have from the past, what you have from the future, it looks as if things are going to look pretty bad for a moment.
Ooh, I thought we were going to lead with a pretty good there.
I was trying to
Set
make
me
sure
up.
everybody knew that there was something
me up.
coming like spring. So typically what you also understand is as good as it was and as bad as it might look like, they're probably not ever going to be exactly like that.
Right.
So as we've talked about previously, you plan for certain things to be prepared. Then you understand what that looks like. Okay, well, you plan for winter, but it's not that much snow that comes. But
Right.
you were prepared for it, so you had enough firewood just
Right.
in case you needed it.
Right.
The worst thing you want to do is not be prepared.
Exactly.
We've seen some of that with toilet paper.
Yeah.
That was a bad thing to be unprepared for. I
That
guess
was
that's
a
why
bad
everybody
thing.
freaked out about it.
I'm just saying, since then, never been low on toilet paper. Same thing with paper towels.
So that kind of leads into where we're at. So everybody, not everybody, but a lot of people maybe were over-prepared
Yep.
for another COVID possibility or another lockdown, which that was a once-in-a-generation kind of event.
Yeah.
So we probably bought things we don't – some of us might even still be using since 2020, such as toilet paper.
Yep.
There's a balance of being prepared, and there's a balance that you made an incorrect decision, whatever the rationale was. Right. So we have a lot of companies that have maybe overbought supply because they thought that same pattern was going to keep looping, not realizing that we are creatures of habits, but we also like change, and we will all grow.
Right.
So new patterns, new changes are coming.
Right.
So everybody was fixing their house, for example. Now everybody wanted to travel.
Right.
So there's two polar dynamics. So if you weren't aware everybody wanted to travel for the last year and you thought they were going to keep fixing their house, you might have bought too many tankless water heaters that you thought might sell to a construction industry.
Yep.
And you didn't properly stay aware that the interest rate was going up. So now it's equal to buy a house or to rent an apartment.
Right.
And then the risk assessment to make that decision at your age versus my age, you make that call.
Right. It's a little different.
So there's elements affecting why it's going to look and feel bad for a period of time. You have the Chinese New Year, you have the oversupply in the system, and then you have it coinciding, it's like colliding with the interest rate need to slow down inflation on perception.
Mm-hmm.
It's colliding with the high costs that are built in, so there's only a margin that people selling goods or services can go down to.
Right, because then they'd be selling at a loss.
And then they're out of business.
Right.
And so what really comes down to is the ones that didn't maybe prepare and plan are in a very tight margin right now.
Right.
And if any bump will throw them for a loop if they're not careful in all their planning. So
Yep.
it is not going to be plentiful like it was in summer of 21, summer of 22, and we noticed it really coming into the summer of 22.
Yeah.
So we've been making decisions and doing things to hopefully prepare and plan for if it looks like what it is starting to look like,
Right.
which is nothing.
And when you say pretty bad, how bad are we talking? Like, are we talking like?
Well, from the freight, go ahead, sorry.
No. You go ahead.
From the freight forwarding perspective of us moving goods is where I'm speaking from that lens.
Correct.
So from the lens of a freight forwarder, international export, and logistics and trucker, that the freight volume movement is probably the worst I've ever seen. And because it's not specific to any one. A lot of times you have geopolitical issues or weather issues that narrow down to one area of the world that affect trade lanes. But this seems to be worldwide, that there's a worldwide slowdown to understand what in the world do we need, what have we done, who's got the demand, and where do we need to go.
Right. Excuse me. Right.
2008, we had the bad loans, so there was a rationale, and people were left with bad loans.
Right.
And then so it was a false kind of look of economy. There are different elements that you look back. 2011 was the dot-com boom and bust where there were fake companies looking like they were making money left and right.
Right.
So you have elements of a lot of past history that it's rhyming as.
Right.
But it's not identical to.
And do you think it'll be as bad as some of those drops were? I mean, obviously you're not an economist, so I don't expect you to give me an answer that I'm going to live and die by.
I'm 100%.
But you haven't been wrong yet. That's true. So
I only say that because, again, I hope people really listen and take in the information we're trying to share. I don't know.
All right. Can't be wrong if you don't know.
It's hard. I think the last one we did, you asked me a question similar to this, and I was like, it's 99.9.
Right.
And I wish I could remember exactly what it was, but after I listened to it, we were 100%.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say 99.9. I don't think it's going to be an economy collapse and a true bust where other years of history have shown.
Right, but it'd be more of like a hard recession.
It's going to be a industry-related recession.
Yeah, that should be the way that we say it, industry-related.
So there'll be industries that peaked that will feel a stronger effect.
Right.
However, at the current moment, what we're seeing is everything's affected.
Right.
Because nobody really has a forecast to go off of, and so it seems to be that there's a lot of people struggling to understand where the demand is going to come from. So to answer your question is, I don't think it's going to be a hard recession, but I think there's going to be hard times over a period of time. And if you haven't done the right things, you will have struggles at times. And you just got to like look at it for the large lens look. Sometimes we get so narrow focused. It could be politics related. It could be personal preference related to brands or whatever it might be. Or the famous one I love that people say is, well, I just wanted to be like it used to be.
It ain't how it used to be no more,
That's
fella.
a narrow lens look. It's just not going to ever be like that. So you have to understand what's affecting the cause and effect of it.
Yep, and adapt and overcome.
So it feels like end of March before we really see something. It's now beginning of January. It's going to take a moment, and a lot of that will be dictated on some of the near future movements.
Right.
Now, it's the year of the rabbit. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Did you know what the
I
year
thought
of
you
the
were asking
rabbit
me a
brings?
question. I was about to say I really don't know.
Do you know what the year of the rabbit brings?
Nope, I don't.
Peace, love, joy, happiness.
So Woodstock's coming back.
China style.
That might be kind of good.
Kind of ironic. So if we
Interesting.
can believe in the year of the rabbit, then maybe we have something good coming that
I believe in it.
helps from the negative turmoil we've had.
I believe in it. We're gonna be some rabbit guys, right? You into rabbits?
Oh yeah.
You into rabbit? Come on, give me some. Give me some.
Is this a rabbit?
Give me some rabbits, baby.
Rabbits.
This is what the rabbits do right here.
2023
That's
rabbits.
what the rabbits do right there. All right,
You
I
want
think.
my prediction who the next president is going to be?
Oh, he's about to say it. He's about to say it. All right, I was about to end it, but now I got to hear it.
We'll have to do a whole nother episode on this.
Oh Lord.
This is a name out of left field that right field don't even know exists.
That video might not ever leave the vault. We'll see where it goes.
Let's see how good I am in 2 years if I predicted this right.
All right.
The guy's name is Will Hurd.
Will Hurd. I feel like you just made that name up. Sounds like I made
You have
that
to go
name.
look at it.
Will Hurd.
Former congressman of the largest territory of Texas.
You think Will Hurd it?
He's ex-CIA.
He's ex-CIA? Hey, he might be there.
He was a
Is he
congressman
really
of the largest landmass. It's larger than the state of Georgia that he was a congressman of.
Well, tune in next
Name
time.
dropped, huh? I got you on that
Tune
one.
in next time for Will Hurd. Maybe we'll get him on the pod. Maybe it'll be a Will Hurd pod.
We might before he gets to become our president.
Yeah. Just get him before he starts doing any campaigning stuff. But all right, well, there's your predictions for the next quarter.
And even the next
And
president.
even to the next president. It's crazy. I'm going to write that down. We got to get Will Hurd on the pod. We got to get him
We
here.
might be able to get him.
We got to get him here and be like, look, dude, we called you out. You got to show up.
He's you look at him. He's probably already now knows once this gets posted that we've talked about him.
Look, I'm not endorsing Will
He's an
Hurd.
ex-spy.
I'm not endorsing Will
He's an
Hurd.
ex-spy.
But I'm not
US.
saying I don't know anything
CIA.
about him, so I can't endorse him. But I like that he's an ex-spy. I like a little bit of
He
treason.
knows about AI. He did a TED Talk about AI.
Did he really?
Yes.
Go watch his TED Talk. That's about all I can really say. I don't know anything about him.
All right, we out.
We out.